So hello everyone, and thanks for joining us for our virtual home buyer seminar. My name is Thaya with the Record Group in Keller Williams Premier Realty in Katy, Texas, and I am also licensed in Louisiana, Keller Williams First Choice in Prairieville, Louisiana. I service all of Greater Houston and surrounding areas, as well as Greater Baton Rouge and surrounding areas.
Hi. Good morning. My name is Octavia Jennings. I'm with Integrity Texas Properties. I'm on a JH Home team, and I serve Houston in the state of Texas.
Hi. First of all, thank you for allowing me to be a part of this Q&A this morning. My name is Rodgers, loan consultant with Loan Depot.
And hello, good morning. My name is Ronda Liles, and I'm the account executive with Ober Public Title in the Woodlands. And again, ladies, thank you so much for having us join you on the Q&A. We are very excited to be here and to help with the questions.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thanks, Ronda. So what we're going to do today, we're going to take you through the home buying process. And feel free to comment, ask any questions that you may have. We will definitely come back and respond to your questions. And we will also be happy to set up a one-on-one consultation with you as well. So the first thing I'm going to say is one of the first things that we do is when you're ready to start the home buying process, the first thing I would do is schedule a one-on-one buyer consultation with you. This could be done virtually. It could be done via FaceTime. It could be done by phone. It's just whatever you prefer. We are still taking the necessary precautions, with the COVID virus and everything like that. So like I said, the first thing would be the buyer consultation. During this consultation, I would talk to you. We would discuss, your real estate needs, kind of get to know you a little bit. And also I would go over the entire buying process with you and cover any expenses that are involved in the buying process. Once that is done, I would send you over the necessary documents that needs to be signed, which is usually the information about brokerages, which explains how, how real estate is done in the state of Texas. In Louisiana, this would be called the customer information form. Mm-hmm. And also, I would also see what's called the buyer representation agreement. Once we have all of that done, then we would discuss you getting pre-qualified. That's the step. So before we could move forward, if you are going to be doing financing, for your home, the first thing we would need to do would be to get you pre-qualified. Mm-hmm. So that's why we have our wonderful loan officer here. She's going to go into this, Miss Lily Rodgers. Tell us a little bit about the pre-qualification process, the difference between a pre-qualification and a pre-approval.
Okay, so the first step towards a pre-qualification is to submit an online application. Mm-hmm. We have a very user-friendly application that I can send to you via email or text, and you register online and then you complete the application. Once that's done, I get an alert that there's an application pending, and at that moment I go in and I verify credit and kind of look through the application, and then I reach out to you and just kind of go into more details about your situation to see how we can make it an approvable loan. So okay. The difference between the difference between an approval, a pre-approval, and a pre-qualification. A pre-qualification is just based on the information you have provided online or on your application. Mm-hmm. A pre-approval is once I have received your documents. And by that, I mean the list of documents that we require, which I send you a list of. And that entails ID, pay stubs, W-2s, bank statements. And just depending on your situation, if you're self-employed or receive bonuses, I may ask you for tax returns as well. Mm-hmm. Once I receive those documents, then I'm able to verify the information and issue a pre-approval letter. Mm-hmm. And that is what I
Awesome.
provide to your realtor.
Awesome.
Great.
So how long is the pre-approval good for?
It's good for 90 days. Usually after that, we start asking for updated pay stubs, updated bank statements, because those documents tend to expire after 30 days really, but we can use them up to 90 days. After 120 days, we do have to pull a new credit report. So it's important to be within that time frame that you are serious about buying, so we don't have to pull your credit a second time during the process.
Awesome, awesome. So do I need to get pre-qualified before I can view homes?
Yes, you do. It gives you leverage for one, when you're out with your realtor looking at viewing homes, and if you want to make an offer, it's good to have that pre-approval letter before you submit your offer. So most realtors will want to see that so that they know what price range you're in and know that you do have a loan in place before they go out and show you property.
Awesome, awesome. So what are some of the general requirements to get a home loan?
General requirements is, as far as credit, I mean, you need to just make sure you don't have any recent collections. If you do, we'll talk about those on an individual basis. Bankruptcies, foreclosures, things like that. We just have to do a case by case. Ideally, you want to have a 640 or above on your credit. If it's below that, again, we will go through it and just see what we can do to help you boost up that score. And then the other requirement is that you do need to have a 2-year work history, whether it's self-employed or if you're a W-2 employee, we do require 2 years.
Awesome, awesome. So do you offer any assistance programs for, let's say, first-time home buyers?
Yes, we do. We have several state and local agency programs through the county, and those can cover your down payment, and in some instances, it can cover your closing costs as well. So you can get into a home with as little as possible. Between myself and the realtor, we make it work to where we reduce the amount for closing, if at all possible.
Okay.
Awesome,
Great.
awesome. So is now a good time to buy? I mean, with everything that's going on, I mean, is it a good time to buy now?
Right now it's a really good time to buy. The rates are still at an all-time low. People are still buying. I believe on your end, and correct me if I'm wrong, Thaya, I believe that some of the homes you may have to do virtual tours on, but as far as getting you pre-approved, everything's automated. You don't need to worry about coming into the office. You can scan and email everything over, electronic signatures. So people are still buying, and it's a great time to buy.
Awesome, awesome. And how long is the process?
Usually it's 30 days. I like to say 30 to 45 days, just to give you some time to look at some properties. Some people know what they want and they find something right away, and other times it takes you a couple of weeks. But once we go into contract, it moves pretty fast. Within 30 days, you'll be in your home.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you, Lily.
You're welcome.
All right.
Well, once I receive that pre-approval from Lily, we then go into the fun part. But before the fun begins and we start looking for your new home, there are a few processes that we like to do. And one of the processes is the buying criteria. Basically, the buying criteria is pretty basic, but it's also the most important part of the home search, which is, what are you looking for in a home? We need to talk about the budget, the price range, where's your ideal location. Are you willing to move in a home that at the right cost, do a little work on it? What about a school? Are you looking for a specific school district or not? Once we get all of that information together, then we sit down and we go over the 5 must-haves. And what are the top 5 things you must have in your new home? Is a pool mandatory? Does the master bedroom have to be on the first floor? Can it be on the second or third floor? Do you have to be in a cul-de-sac? Do you have to have a game room or a family room? Once we take all of that information and get it down, Then we go to get what they call a comparative market analysis, and you hear a lot of people call it CMA for short. And basically what that entails is we get the information for research the data to see what property sold recently in that neighborhood. And once we find that out, and find the home that you want, then I can give you advise you on what to offer for that property. So we find a home, you like it, said, Octavia, this is the house. Then we go ahead and we do the CMA on it, the comparative market analysis, and I advise you on what you should offer for that property. Now, once we put that offer in and it is accepted, yay, Thaya, what's the next step?
Well, at this point, congratulations, you have a executed contract. So at this point, time is of the essence. The clock is ticking at this point. So now we are in what we call a option period. It's called an option period. Some places it's called an inspection period. The option period is usually 7 to 10 days. At this point, once we're under contract, we forward the fully executed contract and supporting documents to the title company as well as to the lender. During these 7 to 10 days, this is the time when you get any and all inspections done on the home. As far as an inspection is very important because inspections can cover some serious issues about the home, and it can prevent you from spending thousands of dollars, in the loan. So getting an inspection done on the home is very, very important. Also, during this time, this 7-10 day option period, you have the unrestricted right to terminate the contract at any time. Option period. So, it may be, issues may come up, inspection may come back, and you may feel like, oh, this is too much, this may be costly. I don't want to get into this situation. It may not be a favorable situation for you. So, this is the time where, you have that unrestricted right to terminate the contract at any time. Another thing too, also at this point, once we're on the contract, you have an option fee that's usually $100 to $200 that is paid to the seller. You have 3 calendar days to get this option money to the seller, and also have your earnest money. Your earnest money is usually they like to see usually 1% of the purchase price. So, for example, if the home is $200,000, they usually ask for 1% of that, which would be $2,000. However, just keep in mind that all of this is it's negotiable, and this earnest money, like in Louisiana, they call it a deposit. So in Louisiana, it's usually around $500. And this is, once you close on your home, this earnest money and this option fee is usually, they usually do a credit to you back at closing. So, like I said, it's a very, very critical time. The clock is ticking, and it's very important that we get everything done within a timely manner during this time. So, Rhonda, could you explain to us what is done once you receive a file?
Yes, ma'am. So once we receive the contract and basically a request to open a title order, we will get that process. We send it over to what we call a title examination department. They will look at all the back information or the recording information on that specific property to see if there's any liens or any, monies due to be paid off through the closing from the seller side. So we have to make sure that the ownership transfers all the way back from when the house was originally built and the property was there, that the proper owners have transferred properly throughout the whole years of that. And we're able to issue a title policy to the buyer and ensuring them that, hey, you have full and complete title to this property without any back liens on there that's going to come and sneak up on you in the future.
Awesome, awesome. So tell us a little bit about what actually is a title company, and tell us a little bit about it, title insurance, and how much does it cost?
Yes, ma'am. So basically what a title company is, it's a combined agent of an insurance company, the buyer, the seller, or any of the parties related to the transaction, such as the mortgage lenders and, surveying companies, inspectors, appraisers. We all work together, and of course the agents. But the title company they review the title like I was discussing here, and we also issue insurance policies. We facilitate the closings, which is where you come to our office and sign all the documentation to legalize the transaction. We also file and record all of those documents that are signed at the closing table, and make sure that we distribute out all the funds. We are enacting as a third party to the transaction, and we are an escrow company as well. So we are responsible for paying out all the funds due to all the parties during that transaction. And so basically what title insurance is and how much it costs. Title insurance is a way to protect yourself of any financial loss or any related legal expenses in the event that there is a defect in the title, as I had mentioned a little while ago, in your property, and it's covered by that policy. Kind of similar to like a homeowner's insurance policy or auto policy. We insure title to the property of your land. We're different because it focuses more on like risk prevention rather than risk assumption. And then with the title insurance, the title examiners review the history of the property. They seek to eliminate any title issues before the purchase occurs. So that's why it's so important to have this title examination on your property and to obtain the title insurance. The title insurance, basically, it differs other than, your homeowner's insurance or your car policies, because it's a one-time payment. And the title insurance is based upon the sales value of your home. So the cost differs, of course, and it is regulated by the Texas Department of Insurance. So we don't just throw out, a cost out there or, start shopping around for different prices. It's a set base price according to the state of Texas. And another great thing about your policy is that it continues to provide coverage for you or your heirs as long as you own the home.
Okay, awesome, awesome. And what is escrow service provided by the title company?
Yes, ma'am. So an escrow service is basically a process where the buyer and the seller deposit the written instructions, which is the contract to purchase the home, the documents and the funds with the title company, who is basically a neutral third party to the transaction, until all the certain conditions are met. We have an underwriting department where we have, requirements as well, just like with the loan, to, if there's any outstanding issues on the property, to clear out those issues, which is called title curative. And we must make sure that all of that is done. And with that, it's basically like, like I was saying, we are a third party to the transaction, but we are responsible to distribute all the funds. We facilitate the closings, and just to make sure that your closing, once it's there, everything's properly done, signed, and we work with the lender to get what they call a funding process done. They have to review documents to make sure everything's signed properly, and then they will issue us a funding authorization to distribute those funds.
Awesome, awesome. Thanks, Rhonda. Okay, so Lily, can you briefly explain what happens once you receive the executed contract?
Yes. So once I get the executed contract, the ball starts to really roll on my end. The file gets submitted to our processing department, where they will verify employment, request title from the title company, and just kind of, take care of all the loose ends on the back end. The meantime, I wait for the agent to advise me on inspections, and if all goes well with inspections, then we move forward and order the appraisal. The appraisal typically takes about a week and a half, and so that's just to ensure that the property is worth at the value is at least the sales price that you're buying the home for. So once the appraisal is done, the file's moving on through underwriting. The underwriter will make the final approval, may ask for some additional conditions. should be minimal at that point. And then we start gathering those conditions from the borrower and just kind of preparing the file for closing to meet the date that is on the contract. So,
Awesome.
and then during this time, I also ask the buyer to start shopping for homeowners insurance as well.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. So, once we get the clear to close, what happens next, Octavia?
We love those words, clear to close. And that's when everybody's yaying, the lender, the title company, the realtor, and of course the client, the buyer. Basically, we do a final walkthrough, which takes typically about, we like to schedule it 1 to maybe 2 days before the closing date. Basically, the final walkthrough is for us to go through the property and make sure it looks the same as it was when we last saw it, or if there were any repairs that were needed, that they have been done and completed. Once we've confirmed all of that, the final walkthrough is completed and they're satisfied, the next move is the closing. And Rhonda, what documents and information do we need for the closing?
Well, basically what you're going to need to, you mean as far as for the funding process? And all that?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. So we're going to need a buyer walkthrough form, which is basically stating that you have walked through the property. Everyone's in agreement that, yes, we're accepting the property in its condition. And then once we have that document, then we're, basically good to go. We want to make sure that everyone's on board as far as like the day of closing. Like she said, the property has not been damaged, or the seller's leaving any unfinished things according to the contract, say if they're going to do repairs, etc. So we have to make sure that all that stuff is done and everyone is satisfied to be able to proceed through with the closing and then transfer the title over and fund.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much, Rhonda. And so before we close, I want to end by saying this. When choosing a realtor, it's important to choose a realtor who has a good team, a good team, a good lender, a good company, a good inspector. All of these are very, very important things to consider when hiring a realtor. You also want someone who is committed to your needs, you want someone who's full-time, who actually, does this, full-time. And also, most importantly, you want someone who is going to have your best interests. So, all of these are really, really important things to consider when hiring a realtor. I want to thank everyone for joining us today. It was a pleasure being able to present this information to you guys, and I hope you find some value in what we provided for you guys today. And also, I would like you guys to stay tuned for our next seminar. It's going to be how to get your home sold for top dollar. So, we're going to have some very, very interesting information that we're going to provide to you guys. And like I said, if there's anything in the world that we could do for you, let us know.
Thank you again, Lily Rodgers with Loan Depot and Ronda Liles with Over Public Title for assisting my colleague and I with this presentation. And we look forward to assisting anyone that has any questions or concerns about buying a home. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
All right. Thank you, guys.
All right.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.